All right, today we're going to step into a small village called Nurpur. It's the 5th day of Ramadan and something's about to happen. Something involving a simple meal, or, well, the lack of one, that's going to teach the whole community what their faith is really all about.
So let's set the scene. Our story kicks off just before sunrise, and the way it's described is just beautiful. A soft light spread from the distant minarets, slowly defeating the darkness. I mean, you can almost feel that, can't you? That quiet stillness, that sense of a whole community waking up together for something bigger than just a meal. It's for a shared, sacred purpose.
First up, let's talk about Nurpur's Ramadan dawn. We'll see how this whole community starts their day of fasting together.
Just try to picture this for a second. The air is still cool from the night, and you can smell that scent of damp earth from the streets. You see men and kids walking together, holding hands, on their way to the mosque for the morning prayer. There's just this incredible feeling of peace and shared purpose all around.
Okay, so at the very heart of this community, there's one person who just embodies its quiet spirit. Her name is Amang Bibi, and her simple, powerful faith, well, that's really the core of our entire story.
So who is Amang Bibi? She's the village's oldest and, by all accounts, kindest woman. Her face is described as having this peaceful light, and her heart is just full of prayer. And get this, when she wakes up for her own prayers before dawn, she's not asking for anything for herself. Nope, all her prayers are for the well-being, for the prosperity of everyone else in her village. And this is where you see this really powerful contrast. Her spiritual wealth is just immeasurable, right? But what she actually has in her home is so incredibly humble. I mean, to break her fast at the end of a long day, all she's got is a little bit of flour, a few dates, and a jug of water. That's it. Keep that detail in mind because it's going to be really important later.
All right, so as the sun starts to climb higher, the day really becomes what it's all about, a test of patience.
You can see the whole day in Nurpur is really structured around prayer. It all starts with Sehri, that pre-dawn meal, then the Fajr morning prayer. As the heat really starts to build, they keep working, and then there's the midday Zohr prayer. But it's that afternoon period, around the Asr prayer, when patience is really put to the test. This whole rhythm, this structure of faith, is literally what keeps them going.
And this whole experience, it's all grounded in a really important Islamic concept, sabr. It's this idea of patience, of perseverance, and endurance, especially when things get tough. And Amang Bibi, she is the living, breathing embodiment of sabr. You know, as the sun is beating down and the hunger pangs start, she never, ever complains. She just quietly repeats this truth to herself. Allah is with the patient.
Then, during the afternoon prayer, the imam says something really powerful. It just cuts right to the heart of everything. He says, Ramadan is not just about staying hungry. It is the month of feeling the pain of others. And the story points out that when the villagers hear this, some of them kind of look at each other, these uneasy glances. It's like a little seed of realization has just been planted.
And as the sun starts to set, that little seed of realization, well, it starts to blossom. This brings us to the evening of realization. The whole village just transforms. That quiet patience of the long day suddenly gives way to this joyful anticipation for iftar, the breaking of the fast. And the air? Oh man, it fills with the smell of samosas and pakoras. Every single home, every kitchen is buzzing with activity. It's a total sensory explosion of community and celebration.
But wait a second. In the middle of all this joyful noise and all these amazing smells, one home was totally silent. One chimney stayed cold. Why? What was going on inside Amang Bibi's little house?
So, the way they figure this out, it isn't some big announcement. It all starts with something really small. A young girl, a child, just happens to notice there are no cooking sounds coming from Amang Bibi's home. And she says to her mom this simple but incredibly powerful thing. Perhaps she has nothing for iftar. And that one comment, it spreads like a ripple. A feeling of unease just washes over the entire village. They realize that in all their own hustle and bustle, they'd completely forgotten their most respected elder. But what happens next? This is what the story is really all about. It's this one moment that transforms a simple meal into a lesson they'll never forget. This is the shared iftar.
Okay, so picture Amang Bibi just sitting there quietly with her prayer beads. She hears a knock, she opens her door, and what she sees is just incredible. The entire village is standing there. People are holding plates of food they just cooked, jugs of sweet sherbet, and this is the most important part, hearts that are just overflowing with love and regret.
See, they weren't just dropping off food. They were bringing their whole iftar meal to her, to share it with her.
Can you just imagine that scene? Her tiny little home is now packed with the entire community, and as the call to prayer sounds, marking the end of the fast, everyone breaks their fast together. And in that moment, this incredibly powerful moment of unity, a Mag Bibi leads them all in a simple, beautiful prayer. O Allah, keep this village always united in love.
So later that night, when everyone gathered at the mosque for prayers, those prayers had a whole new depth to them, a new meaning. A really vital lesson had been learned. And that brings us to our final takeaway, the fifth Rosa's lesson. And this is such a brilliant way to see the story's core message. Before this happened, the fast was, for many, a personal test, right? About enduring your own hunger and thirst. But after this evening, it became a collective lesson in feeling the hunger of others. The whole focus just shifted from being about individual piety to being about communal empathy.
So, what's the ultimate lesson here? It's that the true success of worship isn't just about your own personal devotion. It's about sharing whatever happiness you have with someone else. You know, an act of kindness is never wasted. It finds a way to build a home in people's hearts. And connecting with each other like that, well, that's a blessing in itself.
That fifth fast taught Nurpur a lesson that literally lasted for generations. From that day forward, their new tradition was to make sure the needy were cared for before they started their own celebrations. And so that really just leaves one last question for all of us, doesn't it? What can this simple story from this one little village teach us today about community, about empathy, and about just looking out for one another?